The night my boss slid closer to me on the sand and whispered in my ear, my life stopped being just about numbers. The Pacific wind tasted like salt and trouble. Waves hit the shore in slow, heavy beats, like the ocean was counting down to something. I kept my eyes on the line where wet sand met the darker stone, not on the water and not on her. My hand was tight around a cold glass bottle. I was gripping it so hard my knuckles were white, even though I had barely taken 2 sips. "Do not turn around," Samantha said. Her voice was low and smooth, the same voice she used in boardrooms when millions were on the line. Tonight she was not in one of her sharp city suits. She wore a white swimsuit top and a loose wrap, with a blue and white striped towel over her shoulders like armor she wished she did not need. Her dark hair was down around her shoulders. At first glance it looked perfect and easy. Up close I could see the slight frizz from the sea air and the way one strand kept catching at her lip. Little tells. The kind you only notice when you pay attention. She shifted closer on the beach chair until our knees almost touched. Her warmth cut through the evening chill. From a distance, we probably looked like a couple stealing a quiet moment by the water. 10 o'clock, she murmured, lifting her hand to her mouth like she was telling me a joke. Standing near the umbrella, navy shirt, he has been staring for 5 minutes. I did not turn my head. I did what my old training had taught me to do. I used reflections. I tipped the bottle just enough to catch the curve of glass and the shine of the patio doors behind us. Navy shirt. Light shorts. A man standing just behind the row of lounge chairs, pretending to look at the ocean. His body was pointed toward the waves. His eyes were locked on us. Julian Rhodes. I had met him twice. Both times he shook my hand like I was furniture. Julian was the kind of handsome that came with practice. Gym body. Expensive watch. Smile that never touched his eyes. In Silicon Valley, people called him a visionary. In my files, he was a pattern of pressure and mess. He was also Samantha's ex-husband. "Smile, Micah," she whispered. "My ex thinks I'm alone." She paused. Then she added even softer, like each word cut her on the way out. "He thinks he already won." I did not say something sweet or comforting. That was not my role. I did the thing I was actually good at. "Copy," I said under my breath. "Do not look at him. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Laugh once. Give me 10 seconds. Samantha blew out a slow, controlled breath. Then she let a small smile curve her mouth. From far away, it might look flirty. Up close, I could see the effort in it. It was not a real smile. It was a signal to a predator that the perimeter had changed. I leaned in until my forehead was almost touching hers, close enough to sell the act, far enough to keep it clean. "What's the play?" I asked. Her eyes, usually sharp as cut glass, were fractured tonight. Not broken, just overworked. She flicked a glance toward my mouth without meaning to, then back to my eyes like she hated herself for it. "He is using the summit," she said. "Everybody is here. Press, board members, investors. If he corners me before my keynote tomorrow, I'm done." "You are not done," I said. "I need you to look like you want to be here," she whispered. "Like I am not the woman whose company is about to be gutted in a hostile vote. Like I am not one bad headline away from losing everything. I need you to look like you see me." I watched her, the way her hand shook under the towel, the tight line in her jaw, the way her bare feet pressed into the sand like she was bracing for a hit. "I see you," I said. The scary part was that it was not acting. In the reflection, Julian took one slow step toward us, then stopped. His shoulders shifted like he was rethinking his move. He had come looking for an easy target. He had not expected a wall. We stayed like that for a few more minutes. I said something quiet that made her let out a real laugh, quick and surprised. That sound hit me harder than the cold wind. When I saw the line of her shoulders finally relax a little, I knew we had bought the time she needed. "Let's walk," I said. She stood. The towel slipped. Without really thinking, I reached out and adjusted it around her shoulders again, quick and practical, no lingering touch. No claim, just coverage from the cold and from the eyes on the beach. Her breath caught. Just a tiny hitch. "Thanks," she said, like the word carried extra weight. We walked up the path from the sand toward the Ventana resort. The place was built to look private. Twisting stone paths, soft lanterns, tall plants that made little pockets of shadow. Good for secrets. Good for traps. The Innovator Summit had turned it into a hunting ground. Inside her suite, the air conditioning hit us with hotel chill. Too cold. Too clean. I shut the door and did what I always did. Lock. Deadbolt. Secondary latch. Samantha watched me, brows lifting a little. "You always do that?" "I did not learn caution from spreadsheets," I said, stepping to the balcony door and checking the latch. Before I worked the numbers, I worked 4 years in private security. Hotel executives. VC founders. People with enemies. You do not stop thinking like that just because you wear a suit now. Quote. Her eyes held mine for a second. "So you're not just my accountant," she said. "I am your forensic accountant," I corrected. "And tonight, I am your perimeter." She dropped her purse on the console like it weighed 100 pounds. The CEO mask slipped a little. In this light, she looked smaller than she ever did on stage. Less like the Iron Lady investors talked about, and more like a woman who had not slept in days. "Thank you," she said. "For the beach. That was above and beyond." "That was necessary," I said. "Julian is not here for closure. He is here because the board is nervous and he knows exactly which buttons to push." She turned away, then back again. Her hands were clenched. She unclenched them and laced her fingers together like she was holding herself in place. "He has emails," she said, "from 3 years ago. Fragments. He is threatening to leak them to tech blogs tomorrow morning. Says they prove I stole the Omega platform source code." I needed the truth laid bare. "Did you?" I asked. Her chin came up. Not angry, not offended, just direct. "No," she said, "but I cannot prove a negative. People do not care about truth when the headline is easy. If he drops those emails before my keynote, I lose the vote. I lose the company I built in a garage in San Jose." Her hand started to shake. She tried to hide it by folding her arms. It did not work. I went to the minibar, skipped the liquor, grabbed a cold, sparkling water, cracked it open, and put it in her hand. "Drink," I said. Her fingers brushed mine. They were cold. Her eyes locked on my face like I was the only steady thing in the room. "He wants me to resign before I step on stage," she said quietly. "If I step down, the leaks disappear. If I fight, he burns it all down." I pulled my phone from my pocket. "Forward me everything," I said. "The threats, the headers, timestamps. Every attachment." "Micah," she said, almost a warning, "you are an accountant." "I am a forensic accountant," I said again. "I track patterns. In money. In data. In people." She hesitated. Then she nodded once and started sending. Ping, ping, ping. The files began to land in my inbox, one after another. Each sound was like a weight dropping between us. Samantha stood there in the cold hotel light, watching me, fear and fight mixed in her eyes. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. "You could take any offer you want. You do not have to be dragged into my war." I kept my hands at my sides so I would not reach for her. "Because I do not like bullies," I said, "and I do not walk away from something broken." Her throat moved as she swallowed. Outside, waves hit the shore. Inside, my phone kept chiming, filling with proof and threats and pieces of a story only I knew how to read. I opened the first file. A pattern was hiding in there somewhere. And before the summit was over, I was going to find it. The next morning, the lobby felt like a shark tank. Badges, cameras, suits that cost more than my car. Every corner had a reporter with a coffee cup and a phone in their hand, pretending they were not recording everything. I felt the change in the air before I saw him. Julian walked in, wearing a blue linen suit, casual rich, same practice smile, same lazy confidence of a man who thought consequences were for other people. People turned to look at him, some in admiration, some in curiosity. No one saw the damage he brought as clearly as I did. Samantha stepped out of the elevator at the same time. The lobby seemed to open around her. Heads turned. A couple of cameras lifted. "Sam," Julian called out, just loud enough for the nearby reporter to hear. "You look tired. Rough night." I heard the projections are concerning. The words were sharp and polite at the same time, a shove in the middle of a crowd. Samantha went still for half a second. Her jaw tightened. The perfect CEO mask slipped in one small crack. She did not move toward him, but she also did not move away. If she walked, it could look like she was running. If she snapped, they would call her unstable. I crossed the lobby without hurrying. I did not rush. I did not puff up. I just stepped into the space between them like that was the natural place for me. "Samantha," I said, voice clean and calm. "The encrypted drive is ready. We have a call with Tokyo in 5 minutes." I turned my back to Julian, blocking her view of him and his view of her. My hand brushed Samantha's elbow, light but clear, guiding her toward the patio doors. "Excuse me," Julian said, voice dropping. "I was speaking to my wife." I stopped and turned slowly, meeting his eyes. "Ex-wife," I said, "and Miss Patel is on a schedule." "If you have a calendar invite, I will review it. If you do not, you are loitering." His smile twitched, just for a second. "The help is feisty today," he muttered. "The help keeps the schedule," I said. Then I walked her out into the cold ocean wind. As soon as the glass doors closed behind us, Samantha let out a shaky breath. She tried to turn it into a laugh. It almost worked. "He was about to force a scene," she said. "He wanted me to crack in front of them." "He was testing your perimeter," I said. "Wanted to see if you were unprotected." "I felt unprotected," she admitted. She looked up at me, eyes searching my face. "Until you stepped in." "I will step in," I said. "Every time." Quote. Back in her suite, we turned the room into a war room. I had the hotel bring up a whiteboard. People think better when they can see the problems in front of them. I spread out printouts of her emails and the ones Julian sent, plus board notes and stock movement charts. I took the dining table. Samantha took the sofa. Sunlight from the balcony washed the pages in pale gold. It did nothing to make the mess prettier. I started pulling Julian's finances apart, line by line. Vendor lists, consulting invoices, fake-sounding company names. I circled dates. I drew arrows from one payment to another. "Why are you looking at his landscaping bills?" Samantha asked from behind me. "People hide money in boring places," I said without looking up. "Landscaping, cleaning, consulting, things no one ever questions." "Julian does not care about hydrangeas," she said. "This feels invasive." "He is threatening to blow up your life with out-of-context fragments," I answered, spinning my chair to face her. "We are past polite. You do not win a knife fight with a handshake." Quote. She opened her mouth to argue, then closed it. She sat back down hard on the edge of the sofa and rubbed her temples. "I am sorry," she said quietly. "I am used to fighting my own battles. Having you here, seeing all this, makes me feel exposed." "I have seen your tax returns," I said. "I know how much you spend on those specialty yoga socks." A small laugh broke out of her. It surprised both of us. It softened her face in a way that felt dangerously good to me. "They are excellent socks," she said. "I do not doubt it," I said. I did not sit right next to her. I stayed a step away. Respect and space mattered here. Consent mattered. Optics mattered. That did not stop me from wanting to close the gap. "You built this company on transparency," I said. "On telling the truth even when it hurt. But a predator does not play fair. You do not beat him by pretending he will." She looked up at me, eyes glossy but not broken. "And what happens when the weapon gets turned on me?" she asked. "It will not," I said. Her phone buzzed. She checked it, and her mouth twisted. "His assistant," she said. "He is requesting a private conversation tonight." "Decline," I said. "If I decline, he escalates." "Then we control the escalation," I said. Later that afternoon, I went to talk to hotel security. The supervisor on duty was a man named Ortega. Strong posture. Eyes that had seen more than spilled drinks and lost luggage. "I need camera coverage for the executive hallway," I said, "and I need the names on every keycard access log for this floor." "You expecting trouble?" he asked. "I'm expecting a man who thinks rules are for other people," I said. "If anything strange touches this suite, I want it documented." Ortega nodded once. "You will have it." At 9:47 p.m., trouble knocked. "Maintenance," a man's voice called. "Air filter issue." Samantha looked at me from the sofa, worry rising fast in her eyes. The workday had stripped her down. Bare feet, hotel robe over a tank top. She looked less like a public figure and more like a tired person who had been fighting too long. I checked the door screen. The timing was wrong. The request number he quoted through the door did not match the format I had seen from the real maintenance system. I did not open the door. Instead, I called the front desk from the room phone and asked for the real maintenance supervisor by name. When I had him on the line, I asked a question about a work order code that no random contractor could guess. The man outside the door hesitated. His answer stumbled. Then he stepped away too fast. I watched his outline through the peephole as he moved down the hall. "That was him," Samantha said from behind me, her voice tight. "That was a probe." "He is trying to plant something or rattle you," I said. "Now we know how far he is willing to go." Her eyes met mine. "You are good at this." "Too good," I said. "I am good at pattern recognition. People are patterns." Around midnight, the storm rolled in. The wind rose and the rain hit the balcony doors in hard sheets. The power flickered once, twice, then went out. The suite dropped into darkness. "Micah?" Samantha's voice came from the shadows. Smaller, honest, not CEO strong. "Just human. I am here," I said. "Stay put." I used my phone flashlight to cross the room, found the emergency kit in the closet where it should be. I set a battery lantern on the coffee table and cracked a glow stick, putting it by the bed. The soft light made the room look less polished and more real. Samantha sat on the sofa hugging a pillow, shoulders pulled tight. "I hate the dark," she said. "It is stupid." "It is not stupid," I said. "Fear is a system. It remembers things we wish it did not." I crouched by the coffee table and pulled out what I had put there earlier from the hospitality lounge, 2 protein bars. A couple of sealed water bottles. "$1 billion valuation," I said. "Emergency menu is peanut butter and misery." A small sound came out of her, half laugh, half breath. "Does this mean I am officially off-brand?" she asked. "Only for tonight," I said. I held out a bottle. "Drink." She took it, unscrewed the cap, took 2 steady swallows like she was proving she could still do simple things. Then she broke a piece of the protein bar in half and held one piece out to me. The gesture was small. It felt bigger than it looked. "My dad used to punish me with silence," she said after a moment. Her voice was level, but the words were not. "If I brought home anything less than perfect, he would shut me in a spare room. Not long, just long enough that I remembered." Heat moved through my chest. Not soft warmth, clean anger. "He was wrong," I said. "Was he?" she asked, eyes on the glow stick light. "I built $1 billion company." "You built it in spite of him," I said, "not because of him." My hand moved toward hers on the pillow, then stopped. I let the space between us ask the question instead of my mouth. Samantha looked at our hands. Then she made the choice herself. Her fingers slid across the pillow and wrapped around mine. Firm, warm, not fragile at all. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" I asked. "For being the wall," she said. "For not making me feel breakable while you protect me." "Always," I said. We sat there on that hotel sofa, holding hands in the dim lantern light, listening to the storm pound on the glass. Not kissing, not pretending, just holding the line together while the world outside shook. Somewhere under all the numbers and threats, something was changing between us. And I knew, when the lights came back on, I would have to choose what to do with it. By morning, I found the crack. It was not in the angry emails or the threats Julian had sent. It was in the money he thought no one would bother to read. I sat at the small business center computer, the cheap hotel printer whirring next to me. On the screen, I had his vendor list and transfer logs open. On paper, I had a growing stack of bank records and invoices. He had been moving money through shell companies, landscaping bills that did not match any real property, consulting fees to firms with no websites, payments timed around Samantha's product launches, short positions on her stock placed right before anonymous leaks hit the blogs. Market manipulation, clean on the surface, dirty once you connected the dots. I printed everything. Routing numbers, dates, signatures, hard copies. Screens can be edited. Paper has weight. My phone buzzed as I was walking back to the suite with the folder under my arm. Emmy flashed on the screen. Samantha's head of communications. I answered on the first ring. Emmy. Her voice came out fast and thin. Micah, it is live. Valley Tech Confidential just posted something. People are already screenshotting. 2 outlets are asking for comment. If we do not say something in the next 15 minutes, the story is going to set. Breathe, I said. Tell me what they are claiming. They got photos from last night, she said, breath shaking. On the beach, you and Samantha, they are calling it a scandal, saying she trades access for loyalty, that she keeps staff in line with favors. I stopped walking, my hand tightened on the folder. Draft a statement, I said. I kept my voice low and even, short and clean. Personal photos are being used to distract from today's keynote. We will not engage with speculation. We are focused on the summit. Quote, and the board, she said, they are already texting me. Some of them want her to cancel the keynote. She will not cancel, I said. Tell them Samantha will speak. Tell them we have documentation of Julian's financial misconduct. Do not leak it. Just let them know we are not empty-handed. We actually have that, Emmy asked. I am holding it, I said, lifting the folder, and I am about to put it in the right hands. Silence for a beat. Then Emmy's voice came back steadier. Okay, she said. I can work with that. Send me the link to the article, I said. Then go run point. You are not alone. When I opened the suite door, Samantha was standing in the middle of the room, barefoot in black pants and a silk blouse. Her tablet was in her hand. Her face was set like stone. Did you know? She asked. Know what? I asked. That Julian brought a photographer, she said, her voice sharp. That he planned to make that night public. No, I said. If I had known, we would have handled it. She held up the tablet. On the screen was a photo of us on the beach, her leaning close. Me holding the bottle and staring at her like she was the only person on the sand. The headline called it a secret relationship. The article threw words like favor and leverage around like trash. I cannot go on stage like this, she said. They will not hear my keynote. They will only see this. It is a smoke bomb, I said, a distraction to keep you from speaking. It is my reputation, she snapped. You can walk away from this. I cannot. The words hit hard. I let them land. I did not fire back. I did not raise my voice. I made a choice instead. Then I will remove myself, I said. She blinked. Some of the anger slipped into confusion. I will step back, I said. You put out a statement that I am reassigned. Quiet, simple, internal, no drama, no confession. You do not need me visible on that stage. Samantha stared at me like I had just slapped her. The optics are impossible, she said. You cannot stay as my executive assistant after this. Then I will not, I said. Her face tightened like she hated my answer and hated that she understood it. I go out there alone, she said. You stay here. You stay invisible. My jaw locked for a second. I looked down at the folder in my hand, at the bent corner where my grip had twisted it, and forced my fingers to relax. What do you need from me before you go on? I asked. She hesitated, her chin lifted. The forensic report, she said. I want it in a form I can hand to the board if I have to. You will have it, I said. And if he comes near me again, she asked. He will not, I said. Micah. She started, my name coming out softer, almost like an apology. I am going to the ballroom, I said, cutting the moment before it could turn into something messier. I am going to speak with hotel security. I am going to make sure Julian cannot get close enough to breathe on you. Her eyes narrowed. You are not leaving? I am not finished, I said. And I do not break promises. The ballroom filled fast, rows of chairs, bright stage lights, screens showing the schedule. Samantha's keynote was already trending on social media before she even walked on stage. I did not sit in the audience where a camera could catch me. I stood near a side aisle half in shadow where I could see the stage and the front row and still reach the exit. Julian sat in the front row, center, like the show was for him. His phone was in his hand. His thumb hovered over the screen with lazy threat. Samantha walked onto the stage. She looked taller under the lights. Stronger too. Dark hair smooth. Shoulders back. The buzz in the room shifted as heads turned toward her. She gripped the podium. The microphone caught her first words. "Security," she said, voice steady, "is not just code, it is trust." Her gaze moved across the faces in front of her. For a second, it landed in the shadows where I stood. She did not smile, but her shoulders settled. Just a little. I watched Julian instead. His eyes were not on the stage. They were on his phone. He was waiting for the perfect second to hit send, to drop whatever he still had and watch the room burn. I started walking. Not fast, not dramatic. Just a man in a suit moving down the side aisle with a folder in his hand like he was tired of sitting. I reached his row and stopped beside him. He looked up, saw me, and smirked. "You again," he whispered. I set the folder in his lap. He frowned and opened it. His eyes moved over the first page. The second. The highlight lines. The bank logos. The dates. The color drained from his face. "What is this?" he hissed. "Your pattern," I said. My voice stayed level. "Embezzlement. Stock manipulation. Profiting off chaos you created." "You are bluffing," he said. His fingers tightened on the paper. "I am an accountant," I said. "I do not bluff. I calculate." At the end of the row, Ortega stepped into view with 2 uniformed officers beside him, not charging, not grabbing. Just standing there in clear line of sight, Julian's eyes darted from me to them and back. "You brought bouncers," he muttered. "I brought witnesses," I said. "Security has camera footage and keycard logs from last night. Local police have been briefed. If you push this, you will not walk out the front door as a guest." Quote. His jaw clenched. "Here is your choice," I said, leaning in just enough that only he could hear the rest. "You walk out of this room now. You delete the drafts, the emails, the photos. You stop. Or Ortega walks you to the lobby, and the officers take it from there. Your phone gets seized. Your accounts get looked at. The board gets a front row seat while your name turns toxic." His thumb hovered over his phone again like habit. His eyes flicked toward the officers one more time. For the first time since I had met him, I saw real fear. He stood up. He tried to smooth his jacket, tried to act like he was leaving on his own terms, but his steps were too quick. He walked out of the ballroom. The air in the room shifted. People did not know why, but they felt it. The tension eased in a way they could not name. On stage, Samantha paused for half a second. A ripple, not a break. Then she went on, voice clear. "Trust," she said, "is choosing integrity when no one is watching." I did not stay to hear the rest. I did not need to. Protection does not need applause. I turned and walked toward the exit, already thinking about what came next, for her and for me, now that the line between us had been crossed and could not be unseen. The lobby felt different after he left. It was the same marble floor, the same bright welcome sign, the same fake smile on the woman at the front desk. But the pressure in the air had changed. A storm had passed, even if most people in the ballroom never knew how close it came. Ortega met me near a tall plant and a sign that said "Welcome Innovators" in big white letters. 2 local police officers stood beside him. Calm, professional, watching everything. "Mr. Hayes," one of them asked. "Yes," I said. "The security logs and your documents match the attempted entry last night." He said, "If Mr. Rhodes makes contact again, we can issue a trespass order and move forward." "Good," I said. "He will not be subtle if he tries again." We spoke for a few more minutes. I handed over copies of the paper trail. They took my statement. I did not mention the storm, or the hand I held on the sofa, or the way Samantha's voice shook in the dark. Those parts were not evidence. They were something else. By the time I walked out to the parking lot, the sky had cleared. The pavement was still wet from the night rain. The ocean wind carried salt, and the smell of coffee from the hotel cafe. I reached my car, unlocked it, and sat down behind the wheel. I could have driven away right then. It would have been smart, clean, quiet. Let her finish the day, send her the final report, and slowly fade back into a safer distance. I did not start the engine. Micah. Her voice hit me through the open door. I stepped out again. Samantha was crossing the parking lot toward me, heels clicking, hair loose from the wind, keynote badge still hanging from her lanyard. The CEO walk was gone. She was running. She stopped 3 feet away, breathless, eyes bright with leftover adrenaline and something softer. "You stayed," she said. "I finished the job," I answered. "You took him down," she said. Her voice shook on the word. "In front of everyone." "I removed a variable," I said. It was easier than saying the other truth. That I did it because she mattered. "Stop that," she said. "What?" I asked. "Talking like you are made of steel," she said. "You stayed after I treated you like a liability. You let me push you away to save my reputation, and you still protected me." "You did what you thought you had to do," I said. "I understand the logic." "Screw the logic," she said. Her hands lifted halfway like she wanted to grab me, then froze in the air. I could see the fight on her face. Boss, employee, lines, rules, want. I made it easier. I opened my hands at my sides, palms forward. No grab, no pressure, just an invitation. She stepped into that space. Her fingers caught the front of my jacket. Not pulling me in, not pushing me back, just holding on. "I panicked," she admitted. "When I saw that photo on the blogs, I did not hate it. That scared me more than the headline." My chest tightened. "What do you mean?" "I wanted it to be real," she whispered. "I wanted that picture to tell the truth instead of being another weapon." A car door slammed somewhere behind her. I looked past her shoulder and saw a dark SUV 2 rows over. Julian! He stood by his driver's door, watching us. His face was hard to read from this distance, but the line of his shoulders was stiff. He was not done watching her, even if he could not touch her anymore. Samantha saw him too. Her fingers twisted tighter in my jacket. Old training took over. I shifted my stance so my body blocked her from his view. Not dramatic, not aggressive, just solid. The message was simple. This is as close as you get. Her hand slid down from my jacket to my forearm. A slow, public choice. Julian stared for a beat, then got in his SUV and drove away. The sound of the engine faded. Samantha let out a hard breath. "Do not leave," she said. The words came out rough. "Not because I need an assistant. Because I cut in gently. "You are safe. That is what matters right now." She shook her head. "Let me say it right," she said. Her eyes were clear now. "No CEO mask. Just Samantha. I want you in my life, but I am not going to trap you with a job title or a paycheck." "Say what you want," I said. "Then let me choose." "I want you," she said. Simple, no spin, off the clock, with the option to walk away any time, no leverage, no games. My jaw tightened. Not with anger, with focus. "And if I say yes," I asked, "we keep it clean? No using this against each other, no power plays." "Yes," she said, no hesitation. "No leverage." I studied her face for a long second, looking for fear hiding under boldness. I did not see it. I saw someone choosing. So I lifted my hand, slow and clear, and brushed a strand of hair away from her cheek. She closed her eyes for a heartbeat and leaned into my touch like a person stepping toward warmth after being cold for too long. That was the signal. I stepped in, not taking, not claiming, just closing the distance at a pace she could see and stop. "Micah," she breathed. I paused a fraction away from her mouth. "Tell me to stop if you want me to." Samantha tipped her chin up and closed the gap herself. The kiss was not a movie kiss. No dramatic dip, no hands in hair. It was simple and steady. A promise more than a fire. Clean enough for daylight, real enough to make the world feel sharper around the edges. When we pulled back, she rested her forehead against mine, breathing easier. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay," I said. 2 weeks later, the summit felt like something that had happened years ago. Julian's reputation was ash online and in the papers. The board had stopped whispering and started apologizing. The stock price had recovered, and then some. I was packing my desk, not because I was fired, because my job had changed. I slid the last file into a box when the floor went quiet. Conversations dropped into a hush. People looked up from their screens with wide eyes. Samantha stepped out of her glass corner office and walked into the open floor. She never did that unless it mattered. She stopped at my desk. "Micah," she said. "Miss Patel," I answered automatically, standing up. "The board meeting starts in 10 minutes, she said. "I need the new chief financial officer present." A ripple ran through the room. Someone dropped a pen. Someone else pretended not to stare. I did not smile. I kept my voice low enough for only her to clearly hear. "You're offering me the role because of the work," I said, "not because of anything else between us." She held my gaze. "Yes," she said. "If you say no, nothing between us changes except a job title. You have agency, always." I let out a slow breath I did not know I was holding. "Then I accept," I said. Relief flashed across her face, then softened into something warmer before the CEO layer came back over it. Not hard, just steady. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small, black velvet box. Every head around us tilted, thinking the same thing. She opened it. It was not a ring. It was a key. "A key to my house," she said. Her voice carried just enough for nearby desks to hear. Not as a demand, as an invitation. She stepped a little closer and lowered her voice so only I could hear the rest. "No more fake smiles," she said. "No more hiding. I want you by my side in the boardroom and in life." I looked at the key, then at her. Integrity, for me, had always been numbers on paper. Right and wrong in columns. Today it was this: being brave enough to step into a life I had quietly wanted and told myself I could not have. I took the key and closed my fingers around it. "I will drive," I said. Her mouth curved into a real smile. "Not for cameras, not for the board, just for me." "You always do," she said. We walked toward the elevator together. We did not touch. We did not have to. The space between us was full and charged. When the doors slid shut and the floor disappeared behind us, she looked up at me with a question in her eyes. I let my hand hover at her waist, not quite touching, waiting. She nodded once and guided my hand to where she wanted it. Clear, simple, her choice. Then I kissed her again, slower than in the parking lot, with all the time we had just bought for ourselves. This time she kissed me back, like she had decided she was done being afraid.